Every March, April, May, June down to December. God, you've been so good. You've been so good. You've been so good. Count my blessings, name them one by one. You've been so good. I will not forget. I will not forget. I will not forget. You've been my lawyer, shelter, helper, provider, healer, helper, God. I will not forget. I will not forget.
A very good day to you, and if you're watching us live, this is Impact Live right here on this channel. My name is Felix Eko Dazi, and today we'll be bringing you an inspiring, a very impactful conversation that will be a blessing to you. If you're watching us right here on television, we want to say welcome, and we want you to tell your family and your friends that Impact Live is right here on this channel. My name is Felix Dazi, I've told you already, but my guest for today, he is a man full of wisdom, intelligent, but yet down to earth. He's in the person of Apostle Dr. Lawrence Koa Success. And right. But you will hear him. I don't want to talk about it too much, but you will hear him talk. Then you will know that this man is really impactful, and he has been impactful. Well, I am in his studio. I am in his church.
That's right.
I should say.
That's right.
I am on his altar.
Yeah. The holy altar.
The holy altar.
The exalted altar.
Wow. And he's the pastor of Holy of Holies Chapel International.
That's right.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you.
All right. How are you
pleasure.
doing?
I'm good.
Always looking great.
Thank you. Thank you for having me on your wonderful show. I've been following you keenly.
Oh, thank you.
And you are doing an awesome job.
Thank you.
So this is Holy of Holies Chapel. Okay. This is our main quarters.
Okay.
And we are on the altar, the holy altar.
Okay.
By God's grace, you've been here for the past 14 to 15 years.
14 to 15 years.
That's right.
And you have a beautiful auditorium.
By God's grace.
Beautiful auditorium.
Grace. God decided to build the temple.
Okay.
He only used the vessel to do it, and committed people who were ready to give God a befitting place of worship.
Okay.
God is no more dwelling in temples, but he dwells in man. And once he dwells in us, we become the typologies of him. Mm-hmm. We walk in the shadows of God. And when you read 1 Samuel chapter 16, when God instructed prophet Samuel to go and anoint a king unto him, in the house of Jesse, he saw Eliab and thought, look at the outward appearance and thought, this is the king God wants. And God said, no, this is not the one. So man looked at the outward appearance, but God looked at the measure of the heart. So for me, I believe that if you are doing anything for God, do it better, because God always wants the best.
I love that. That is really insightful. If you're doing something for God,
do the best. Do the best. Don't just give God anything.
Okay.
I always tell church not to crumple money. You don't crumple money and bring it to God. No. Don't squeeze the money and drop it on the altar. I'm not here to look at what you are dropping, the denomination. I am only looking at the measure of your heart. We are all worshipers before God. We are all worshipers. I'm only leading you to God or to Christ. So even in giving of your offering, I don't expect you to drop your offering when it's crumpled. Just straighten it and give it to him.
And give it to
him. If anybody should squeeze money and give it to you, how will you feel?
Disrespectful. I'll feel disrespected.
So that's how I see God. That is the sovereignty of God. It means that he is the unquestionable one. Kabiosi. You don't question him. He's somebody who gives us the best. So it must reciprocate. We must also give him the best. That's it.
All right. We must also give him the best. Let's talk about your life.
That's right.
You said you've been here for 14 years.
That's right.
How many years have you done ministry?
22 years.
22 years of ministry.
Yes. If you see the description here, I was very young.
Okay.
When I came into ministry, I was a teenager.
Okay.
I had served in the Catholic Church as a master for many years. So my leadership abilities and capabilities all began in the Catholic Church. I was first voted as the vice president. You know the Catholic Church.
The Catholic Church.
To hold any position, you have to be up to the task.
Okay.
So I became the vice president, and then I served for over 10 years on the altar. So service is normal to me. I believe that in service, you are promoted. Out of service, God brings promotion. So from the Catholic Church, there was a day God spoke that he has a vision for me. And for that matter, I had to say goodbye to my former church, and the vision started. So we started as fellowship on the field.
Okay, so you're a Cove Town boy.
Yes.
A typical Cove Town.
I am a Pojoba. So
you're a Pojoba too.
I attended Gatekwe Preparatory School there, primary, JHS, Pope John.
Wow.
Yes, so I was bred and battered in Koforidua.
Okay.
But I'm an Ashanti root.
An Ashanti
root from the Ashanti region. But most of our people are in Koforidua.
Okay.
Yes, so I have taken it upon myself to always talk about Christ and to draw people to the kingdom. So it started under a tree. We go at night, go and pray with some of my colleagues. People are actually making mockery of me, especially those who know me too well. Like you are saying, God has called you. Because at the time, I used to go clubbing and all that. Even though I was a mass server, I would go clubbing because I love music.
Okay.
I love clubbing, but into alcohol and smoking, I never did one.
Okay.
But you know, the women around us and all that, you know what I mean. So that was part of the journey. In fact, my mom and my sis were one of my fellowship members.
Your mother and your sister?
Yes.
And they were coming for fellowship?
They were coming because we had to, you know, the Catholic Church has the church and then the school. So we were going under the tree where the school is. And we pray and then we come home. And things were happening. And the first time I saw somebody scream or a demon manifest, me commanding, come out, I was so excited. I felt very bossy, very proud, not in a negative way, but I felt proud that through my voice, a demon has come out.
A demon has come out.
I was excited. So I went to the Bible school.
Okay. Right after Pujos?
Yes.
Or it took some time?
Yes, it took some time.
Okay.
I mean, we were trying our hands on other things. Okay. I went to teach for some time. I organized my own evening classes.
Evening classes and all that.
Staccato's evening classes.
That was the name?
Yes, that's why I named it. When you go to Pope John, it's staccato.
Staccato?
Yes, staccato is a musical word that is short and distinct.
Oh, okay.
So when you go to Pope John Secondary School, on the walls, staccato was
here song. Okay.
And my primary and JHS was Black Sapato.
Black Sapato.
A metamorphosing into staccatos.
Wow.
So the Black Sapato, I did not even understand the Black Staccato until quite recently an Italian came to the church for our 31st night. I think it was 2013, 2014. And then he said, do you understand Sapato? Because I was preaching and I mentioned that in those days I used to be called Black Sapato. I said, do you understand Black Sapato? I said, no. He said, it means black shoe. I said, oh!
And that was the name that you were so excited about.
I mean, I feel proud about it.
When someone calls you Black Sapato.
Exactly, I feel proud about it. So on the street of Koforidua, that was the name. And then I went to Grace Bible College 2 years, did my diploma and did my first degree, and then did my master's. And by God's grace, just last Saturday, on the 1st of October 2022, I had my doctoral degree, graduation and consecration by God's grace. So
congratulations.
I am doctor in theology and in the apostolic ministry.
Wow.
Proud one.
Wow.
Yes, proud one by God's grace. This is not the honorary one.
The honorary one.
This
you have
is
to
about
study.
Grace.
Okay.
You study to get it. And I'm currently a student, HR student at Natford University. Yes.
So you're not stopping?
Yeah, I'm going as far as I want to go. The sky is not even the limit.
But years ago, someone had told you that you were going to do ministry. Were you going to believe that?
Well, I think my mother tried aborting me. I mean, she's watching, so she might not feel good about it.
She tried aborting you?
Yes.
She told you the story?
Twice, yes,
okay.
Twice. One time I brought my results and she was crying. And she was tearing. And I was like, this is time to celebrate. So why are you tearing? And he said, I have something to tell you. And long and short, she's like, I am just reminiscing on what I could have done at the time if I had aborted you. Such a brilliant and intelligent boy. So I'm just pondering over that. That is causing me to tear. So she said she tried aborting me first, second, and the third one was a family member trying to use the local way, come and sleep around, because the father at the time is still a catechist, so I shouldn't say at the time. The father was a catechist, and you know the public ridicule.
Yeah, the public ridicule.
So as young as she was very young. A teenager getting pregnant.
The stigma even attached
I'm
to it.
I'm telling you, you'll be stigmatized and scandalized all over. So she tried it. And the third stage was, okay, a family member said, come and sleep over at night. I will insert medicine, and then that stubborn child will come out. And I never came. In fact, a mouse saved me. A mouse had to pick that medicine away.
Oh.
So when I see mouse, on a lighter note, I don't care that. I don't kill mouse.
You know they saved you before.
Because
wow.
a mouse saved me. So when I see a mouse, I don't see why I should kill it. So long and short, my mother at a point felt, no, this guy has something good. But within me, even when I went wayward, when I say wayward, even though I was going to church, but I was not born again at the time. I was so stubborn. When you are talking about a stubborn academy,
the stubborn academy.
I was the gang leader. When you want the
chief president.
When you want the couples and the niggers and all that, I'm there. In fact, Pope John Secondary School, I was the Jama King. You know, very tiny. I'm a Lilliput, you know. Borrow me words. I'm doing philosophical braggadocio. You know, I had to. I mean, I was vibrant. I had to do what I love doing. But I still felt God has a bigger plan for me. And if you put me before people, I didn't struggle to do public speaking. Because even in school, I was doing drama. And funny enough, during those days, we were having our first drama in school. I think we were in primary school. Interestingly, my grandma was my Sunday school teacher.
Wow.
Yes.
The Sunday school teacher was
yes, my grandma. And giving me an assignment or a role to play in the drama. I was the prodigal son.
Wow.
I was like, why are you giving me the prodigal son? He said, you look like you can play that role. And I did it, I mean, with excellence. It was done excellent.
And that has stayed in your mind for
it has gingered my thoughts, my subconscious, I mean my conscious mind, everything always goes on that act, and it has really helped me. It gave me confidence, so I don't struggle to do public speaking. Okay. And so at the time, I was also into what we call in the college lectures, those who read first reading, second reading before the homily camps and all that. I was very vibrant in the liturgical committee. They are in charge of who comes to read and the assessment of mass. That is when mass is done and all that. So whether by default or by design, I met my late spiritual father, may he so rest in peace, Apostle Prince Yami. He was going to the Kali Church. We have a place called Sacristy where the sacred things are kept, the priest garment and all that, where we serve the communion and all that to pray. And then he had a name, Lawrence. So he has to ask the church, who is Lawrence? He said, he's a young man who is working at Begro District Hospital. I was working there after secondary school with the records department. So at a point, I had to just vamoose, leave the place, and then accept the call.
Wow.
Even at the time when they were calling me also, I was still a bad boy. But things were still happening.
You were a bad boy?
I was a bad boy. I was, into relationship, which is, out of order. but things were still happening. I prayed for people, and I think it was grace speaking at the time, because I was not ready, prepared for the task. But
did you see it as burdensome at that time?
It wasn't, but I didn't know what was even happening to me and what I was even doing. Some way, somehow, the people, my colleagues, were like, Osofo, meaning pastor, you know. And one time we went for a quarterly meetings, 3 months. Most of the government institutions have what we call quarterly meetings. That is after every 3 months. And the doctor at the time said, Dr. Ablo, I will never forget. He said, Osofo, pray for us. Pray, open prayer. I was like,
wow.
Hey. Then I prayed, and everybody's like, wow, Osofo. So it became, I mean, jargon there, Osofo, and all that. But God has really been good. Yeah.
Amazing. And you've done this for 22 years
22
of your life.
years.
Would you
actively?
Would you say if you had to squeeze the hands of time or take the time that you spent in ministry back, would you still have decided to do ministry? Would you still decide to do ministry?
Yes, it's a big yes. And I will always say yes, because I love God with an eternal passion. My desire for him is insatiable. It has no end. I just love what I do. But you know one interesting thing?
Tell me.
In school, if you want any information, just come to Lawrence. He will give it to you.
Wow.
About teachers befriending students, students befriending teachers, I have the filler.
The filler.
We call it filler.
You were the journalist at that time.
I have the filler. So they thought I'll be an investigative journalist. Whatever I tell you is the truth. But I was the bad boy. After school, I will go if my how do you call it, the money given to me get finished. I'll just ransack the little kids, the KG, and then threaten them, give me your food and I'll be eating.
Wow.
I'll take their food and eat. I was the type who, I was not disadvantaged by my size. Look at me today, backdate me today. Look at my size today and backdate me. But I was the type who was not scared of anything. Any bad thing, I'm part of it. In fact, in class, when you're writing names of talkatives, I already get up. The teacher said, why are you up? I said, I know my name is inside. And the class captain can be writing DP, meaning double punishment, up to another line.
Wow.
So you can imagine how it was. I wanted to be a lawyer and a broadcaster. You can hear from my voice.
Wow.
So anytime I hear the likes of Charlie Sam, KKD, Komla Dumont, those, when I hear them speak,
when you hear them speak
behind the microphone, I wish I am the one there. I wanted to be a radio broadcaster. And
that's why you have your own online radio.
That's right.
Wow.
Papa Law Radio.
Wow.
We are yet to launch
on
the 26th of this month.
And
Right Reverend Canon, Dr. Lawrence Tete is coming to do the lunch for us.
Wow.
Yeah, he's my father anyway. I love him, Dad. Big shout out. I love him.
That's amazing.
So,
that's amazing.
In ministry, I'm enjoying ministry.
You enjoy.
I've gone through a lot, hustling and bustling, twists and turns, ups and downs, pitfalls, temptations. I always tell people, any pastor who says, me, I've never fallen before. Me, I've fallen before. I've fallen. I won't sit behind the camera and lie that I have been faithful throughout. I've fallen. I have my shortcoming. And God has been faithful. When we fall, we rise. So for me, I am the straightforward type. I see it as it is. We've gone through a lot of challenges. We've fallen. And by God's grace, we've risen like Mount Zion. And we are on course. So in the 22 years, it has not been easy, but God has been faithful. We've gone through backstabbing, rejection, scandals upon scandals, people trying to stigmatize you. I remember when I came into ministry, people were like, these young pastors, all they are interested is in money. Because some of us don't have that perception. That is not my mind. My mindset is to win souls, populate heaven, and depopulate hell. That's my core
That's
mandate.
your, wow,
Yes.
amazing.
Yeah.
But what would be your definition of ministry, and how does it correlate with impact?
Ministry is different from industry. Ministry is about service. Ministry is service to God and humanity.
Okay.
That's the best definition of ministry.
Okay.
Gifts are given to us without conditions.
Okay.
Gifts are given to us without any price. That's what the Bible said. Anyone who lasted. That's the positive side of lust. We have the negative side where you can't be lasted after somebody's wife or somebody's husband or somebody's car or somebody's property. We lust after the gift. So anybody who desires it, you are given. It's free of charge. You don't work for gift. All right? So when we talk about ministry, ministry is God's calling. It is God calling you. You are called, chosen, anointed, mandated by God. And that is the fivefold ministry. This is the hand of the apostle, the prophet, evangelist, pastor, teacher. This 5. So when you are called, already you are gifted. Everyone in a particular office has a special gift. If you look at you have a speciality. When you are speaking, we love to listen to you. Some are very lousy as presenters. When you are preaching, we feel the presence. Somebody can prophesy. Somebody can teach to the best of your understanding and to the amazement of everyone. All right? So, ministry is different from the gifts. We have the 9 major gifts of the Holy Spirit.
Okay.
Interpretation of tongues, speaking in tongues, healing, faith, prophecy, discerning of spirit, and the likes. And then we have what we call the adhesive gifts or the help ministries, where we have ushers and all that. But today, funny enough, on a lighter note, everybody is a prophet, everybody is a pastor, everybody is a teacher, everybody is an apostle. So where are the help ministries? Where we have the Sunday school teachers, ushers, sanctuary keepers, and all that. That is just by the way. So back to what you asked. Ministry is about service.
It's about service.
Today, do we have servants? We don't. Everybody is a leader. In fact, some are even leading God. When God has to lead us, we are now leading God. We go to churches and God is not there because it is like a business we are running. If it's church, then God must run it. You only follow suit.
Exactly.
So, ministry has impacted my life so much that wherever I stand to speak, people feel God. People fall in love with God. I am the type who will not go anywhere and introduce myself.
Okay.
When you get to know, that's it. People, we exchange numbers and people go on my WhatsApp status and
like, wow.
I didn't know you were a pastor. I didn't know. Just my class like this, my current class. Nobody knew that I'm a pastor. And I've even risen to the level of doctor.
A doctor, yeah.
A doctoral level. Nobody knows.
Nobody
Why
knows
should I
about
say?
that.
I always want works to speak. Works is better than words. Because the works will speak for you. The works will decide and determine where you be per time. So ministry had opened doors for me. As I sit here, by God's grace, I've been to 16 countries.
Wow.
And I'm still counting.
16?
Yes,
Wow.
by God's grace. And it's because of ministry, service. I go not because of my pocket. I go because I also want to impact lives. Populate heaven and depopulate hell. So ministry in itself is by calling. Once you are called, you have no option than to obey and say, yes, Lord, I am ready. So that readiness had brought me this far. And I've never regretted becoming a pastor. Because out of this, I've become an entrepreneur. I've become a youth advocate. I have an advocacy that advocate for the youth of this nation and nations across the globe. And out of that, I'm a farmer too.
Wow.
Even though I'm not using the
The
cutlass.
cutlass.
I have a farm, animal farm.
Wow.
By God's grace, we are going to launch or have the grand opening of Papalo Radio. And then we have a clothing line called Trailblazer 21 Clothing.
Okay.
All located at Coventry 11.
Okay.
Yes. So the farm is around Osinase, where you are on the Asamankesi Road.
Okay.
Yes, that's where it is.
Okay.
So God, through our humility, has brought us this far.
Okay.
But we are not into ministry because of money. But when you are faithful and loyal to God, He blesses you.
Wow.
Yes,
So the
God bless.
intention is not just, it's not for money.
That's
but
right.
when you are loyal and faithful.
When you obey God, what happens? Deuteronomy 28 verse 1. And all these blessings, plural term, shall follow you and overtake you. If only you hearken unto my voice. And all my statutes, what I'm going to tell you. If you do it, I'll prosper you. So that is exactly what we are up to. We obey God and the blessings follow. My favorite scripture, one of them, is Matthew 6:33. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things shall be added unto you. These things we are talking about is the material blessings, physical blessings, and the likes. All the things we can think of, God has already given us the blueprint. What is the blueprint? The blueprint is for you to obey, and the rest will follow. Do you know that prayer don't set you free? What set us free? John 8 verse 32, the answer is there. What set us free is the truth. And you shall know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. But not just knowing the truth. You know the truth and you believe in it, and then you are free. That's all. So ministry in itself is not what we are seeing today. Majority of the people who are into ministry today are in for their own parochial interest. The real Elijahs and those who are hidden in the wilderness come into ministry with a prime focus just to win souls. When you are reading the Constitution of Ghana, the 1992 Constitution, the preamble, everything about Ghana, the authority and everything, the sovereignty of this nation relies on us or is in us. We decide how we run the country. The preamble to ministry is to win souls and nothing else.
The preamble into ministry
Is to win souls.
is to win souls.
Nothing else. So anything contrary to it is business.
It's business.
That has been the norm today. Premature fame, popularity, money, monetization of almost everything in church. I prophesy you shall see. I want God to bless you. Tell people that spiritually, when you obey God, He will bless you. But He will bless what you do. We are told to pray. So when they take the seat and they come and pray and they don't get the results, God has disappointed them. They get disappointed. Tell me I'm lying. Sow seed, you are getting a car. It's wrong. It's a wrong theology. I sow seed because I am blessed. I am giving because I am blessed, so that God will bless me more. We don't call seed that come and give this and get this. What if I don't get it? I get disappointed. And that your God has been a liar. And sometimes we even put our calling on the line. If it doesn't happen, I'll throw my Bible away, throw it away.
I'll not be a pastor again.
Throw it away, because it never happened.
Interesting.
That is why the church is gradually becoming unattractive. I must be honest. Because the perception out there is that once you are into ministry, it's money.
The money must flow.
Ministry is not about chasing titles. Somebody will say, so why are you attending school and why are you now carrying that title, that doctoral title. The title has nothing to do with me and what I do for God. It is Lawrence Success. Before God, I'm a servant. All God knows is I'm a servant, not doctor. He won't call me doctor. It's about service. It's not the title. So my title shouldn't deny me of kneeling before God and worshiping. When you come to our church, I'm a worshiper. I'm not a singer. But when I worship, you can't sit. You feel God. John chapter 4. When you read John 4, 23 to 24, he said, an hour cometh, and now is the hour where true worshippers worship the Father in truth and in spirit. For the Father seeketh such to worship him. For God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Isn't it written in white and black? So we come to church, we don't have to plan church services. Are we not planning church services today? Are we not timing ourselves? We come here and we worship. If you are in a haste, go home. We are worshiping. You go to churches and they are giving you sign, hurry up, I'm coming to preach. The pastors. Some pastors will be in their office and not worship. Are you bigger than God? But that has been the norm.
The norm.
And people think that is normal. Because at the end of the day, that is what my leader is teaching me.
He's teaching me.
So we have to get that understanding that ministry goes beyond titles. Ministry goes beyond money. It goes beyond wealth and riches. But in the Bible, Psalm 112 verse 3, it said, wealth and riches shall dwell in the house of the righteous. Are you righteous? If you are, then wealth and riches shall pursue you and overtake you. As simple as ABCD. In God's simplicity lies his strength. God is so simple.
I love that. In God's simplicity lies his strength.
You cannot take advantage of God. Sometimes we want to outsmart God. When we are not seeing, we say we have seen. When we are not hearing, we say we have heard. So the worldly people are making mockery of us. They think now church is business. Go on social media. Sometimes it will interest you to know that we go there. I'm very current. I'm out of the box pastor.
The box pastor.
I'm not in the box pastor. Very current. Sometimes you go, you listen to, if the tape is long, you just listen about 2 minutes. Just go and read comment. The insult when it's about church. Who calls up? It's some of our so-called pastors, so-called prophets, apostles, evangelists, pastors, teachers. They have cost us a lot. One of the things I've come to realize is that church goes beyond the four corners.
Church goes
of a building.
beyond the four corners of the building.
Church can happen anywhere, on the street, in the market, the supermarket, everywhere. We can be there to worship God. Why do people think that if you don't come to my church, I cannot preach to you? Why is it among Christians, somebody will say that, leave that church is an occultic church. Come to my church. Our church is good. Our church, God is there. This church, God is not there.
The presence of God is there, but you...
Why do we think that church is all about I see, I hear? We have known churches that had never done I see, I hear. And that church is still having the numbers.
The numbers.
I don't want to mention any church.
They call once a while meeting and the numbers...
They are there. People come.
Their branches are there.
Yes, actively running, thriving and advancing. In leaps and in bounds. What are you talking about? People are making headway because they carry church to your doorstep. There is this adage that rhymes like this. What is good for the goose is equally good for the gander. If we talk about the worldly people, then we must talk about the church. Because charity, they say, begins at home. If the church is sick, don't forget that the church is the moral fiber of our society. Yes. When the moral fiber of every society breaks down, check the church. Look at the state of the church. When you identify and discover the state of the church, you will know that the problem started from the church. I don't want to digress a bit, but let me chip in this. Our politicians, are they not Christians?
Yeah.
Do you know that it interests you to know that most of them are Christians? And the rest are from the other sect.
The other sect.
But majority of them are Christians. When they go to church, what do our pastors tell them? They should keep robbing Paul and pay Peter. What messages do they preach? So they are said, honorable, honorable, honorable. Honorable what? Before God, nobody is honorable. We are all equal. Equal before God. Honorable? So what are you telling them? Because when it's harvest time, you watch from now till December. Come and see harvest and see the honorables running into these temples, giving huge monies and people clapping. Why should people give and then we clap when we are told that they are receiving blessing? It means that we, the church, always confuse ourselves. I don't know if you are getting the angle I'm coming from. We always confuse ourselves. We say somebody is going for his or her blessing, and we are clapping for the person for giving 10,000 Ghana cedis, 20,000 Ghana cedis. And we are clapping, forgetting that the person is, per our belief, is going for the blessing. So, ministry goes beyond just preaching. Our life must also show. So, we are the light of the world. We must live right. I am not an angel. Speaking like this doesn't mean I'm an angel. I'm not. I have my shortcoming. I always accept that. That's why God will have mercy on me and help me take it. But do you know one secret about God? That when we say the sovereignty of God, God is sovereign. And that there are some shortcomings God will not take it away. At least one. He won't take it away. You know why? That will humble you. For you to know that you are human. That's why there are shortcomings. You want to cry, you want to pray fast.
You want to do everything.
Lord, take it away. Still, you will do it. You want to humble you, for you to know that you are human. So humble yourself, and He will help you. So Paul said, I can do all things through Christ that strengtheneth me. So our strength cometh from God. He said, greater is He that is in me than he that is in the world. I've come to realize that nobody can change lives apart from God. No book can change you apart from God. It shapes your mentality. You know, I write a lot.
Exactly.
I write a lot.
Even on WhatsApp status, you write a lot.
I write a lot. I'm a writer. I write. I just love to write. And all the write-ups I do, none of them have transformed me. It has only sharpened my medulla cerebral oblongata. It has sharpened my IQ, my intelligent quotient. It has illuminated my way of thinking. But the only book, the only word that transforms is the Bible. So the Bible is my manual for life. Without it, I am nobody. So ministry is good, but there are what you guys call occupational hazards.
Occupational hazards.
Scandals. What you have not done, you have done it. I heard this. Hearsay. Pastors.
So what do you do when you hear these things?
You only in communication or go
because
ahead.
you are human and
That's
you
right.
hear these things and they might break you down. What do you do when you hear things like this
hurts.
as a minister of the gospel?
Honestly, it hurts. It hurts. It's heartbreaking, especially when it's coming from quarters where they know you, they have benefited from your
you.
grace. Very painful. But you know what? Paul said, when I was young, is it Paul? He said, when I was young, I used to think like a child.
Yeah, Paul said it.
But now I'm old, so I think like an old person. Those days, I'm a straightforward person. I am an honest person. Those days, when I hear it, or come to church, it will be part of my sermon. I will lambast
In the
for
preaching.
Yes. Before I even talk about God, out of hurt. Then growing up in ministry, I realized that no, you don't bring your hurt onto the people. On the pulpit, it's not there to score points. The pulpit means pulling people out of the pit. Pulling people out of the pit. That should be your prime focus. So I shouldn't use the pulpit. Now, if I have scores to settle with you, and I start on the pulpit, do you have the same platform to do same?
No.
You don't have. So you can't.
Okay.
You can't settle scores
On the pulpit.
on the pulpit because
That you are
know-
hurt, so you're bringing it to the pulpit
That's
to come
right.
and talk about it.
That's right. And the interesting thing is, there might be innocent people here, new people here, who doesn't even know what has happened.
What has happened.
So the first perception they have about you is,
That,
Pastor Wayne, so this pastor is too aggressive. He's too, his words are too harsh. Then that perception travels. So growing up, I felt, no, I have to keep it to myself. And that is why I love doing human resource. That's why I'm pursuing
now.
that course. In communication, when you are angry, don't talk. Remain quiet. So you remain quiet until you burst out. At the right time, you just drop one and it finishes or settles every dichotomy. It settles everything. So I have grown, so I don't reply on the pulpit.
On the pulpit.
I have a way to do it this time, bro.
Okay.
I make sure I pray for grace. God, heal me. Funny enough, on the pulpit, people think that behind the smiles, there are pains. Pastors have to put themselves together to come and encourage you, strengthen you, deliver you, set you free. But behind all these, we have pains. We have scars. We have things that are troubling us like you. What people always forget is they think we are superhuman, forgetting that we are human. But we carry the oil that makes the difference. And even with the oil, we need what we call the fruit of the Spirit, which is self-control, endurance, patience, and the likes. Anything outside this, we can live an ordinary life like the members. So it's hurtful, but what can you do? Even Jesus was criticized. So you take inspiration from what your master went through. Interestingly, Jesus is the only shepherd in the Bible. He's the chief shepherd. So when I'm called as a shepherd, it means I have to make sure I give the right message to the people.
Would you say you are successful in ministry?
I am,
You are.
by God's grace.
What is your definition of success in ministry?
Success in ministry. Very good question. I love this question. You know why? Because now, to answer the question, let me give you a gist. People think that now it's about fleet of cars. You have nice jackets. You've traveled around the globe. You're a globetrotter. You're a trailblazer.
Your name is...
You are famous. You are popular. Name it. Borrow me words. You have a flamboyant edifice. Numerically, you have the numbers. No. It is showing the people of God the way to Christ. Growing the people God has brought under your leadership. You help them grow spiritually, to love God the more, to become heavenly conscious and earthly viable. So if I have 5 people and I can help them grow, become heavenly conscious and earthly viable, I'm successful. If you have 2 and you can make sure they make it to heaven, they are enjoying the blessings God has promised us on this earth, you're successful. To a larger extent, I always say that every pastor wants to pastor a mega church. No doubt about it. Any pastor always says, that little flock, don't worry,
I'm satisfied
your
with
father
it,
will. we use that to encourage ourselves. When people are not in church, you are not happy because you are not preaching to church. You need people to preach to. So at the end of the day, success in ministry is not about the fleet of cars. It's not about the building. You know, in our generation, we want an air conditioning facility. If our air conditions are fixed, I wouldn't be sweating like this. You wouldn't be sweating. It's good.
It's good, yeah.
But somebody might be under canopy and God might be pleased with that person than somebody in a huge edifice. Because at the end of the day, God is a rewarder of them that diligently seek Him. And I love that scripture that says that, oh, thou faithful servant,
good
well
and
done.
faithful servant.
Good and faithful, well done. That's all I want to hear. So being successful in ministry is you having the people of God positioned in their right place, making sure that that's the vision of our church. We raise people and leaders to help them discover and develop their purpose in life and to revive the world. I'm a revivalist with the power of God. That's my mandate as a man of God. So I go churches, revive churches, fire everywhere, and I'm done. So success in ministry is all about you doing your possible best to help the people grow spiritually, spiritual growth. And then on a lighter note, make sure they get their daily bread. You know, one of the main focus of church at the time was to help the poor and needy. Most churches started on that good, the orthodoxian move or strategy. The early churches came and they were giving out used clothing, shoes, Tom Brown, foodstuffs and all that. And because of that, oh, they brought food, they brought clothing, let's go. And everybody runs, and the priest at the time would take advantage, preach to them. After preaching, say, take Tom Brown, take wheat, take sugar, take clothing, take this. Won't you come back again? You come back. Even a madman, I always say this, a madman on the street of Accra or Gulf City want to be loved. So when the madman comes and you are cooking and you give him food, the next day he'll be there. Why? Because everybody wants to be loved. And at the end of the day, I expect pastors to go beyond just spiritual, as they say. Spiritual, everything. We don't have to spiritualize everything. We have to also use our brains to work. Make sure that you encourage church members to work. I'm a pastor, but I'm an entrepreneur. I work at the same time. I work to make ends meet so that I don't depend on the church. And that it will not stifle my messages. Some messages will not be preached in certain places or churches, but I preach every message.
Every message.
Archaeology to zoology. I'm not scared. I'm not perturbed by your reflexes or inflexes. I say it as it is. What Bible says is what I preach. Some preachers can't preach certain messages. Ask me why.
Okay.
It's because they are pocket.
Okay.
The man of God's money is inside a church member's pocket.
So because of that, they can't say
Paul was a tent. He was a tent maker. Paul was working. Peter and Co were fishermen. Who told you they stopped fishing? They were doing things to make ends meet. They had people who were also supporting the gospel to be propagated. So at the end of the day, we need to also encourage people that, hey, it is not always spiritual.
Okay.
Go and work so that you don't sleep on an empty stomach.
On an empty stomach.
But if the church has the means, why not? We should help them. How can a church build schools and it's so expensive for church members to attend? What's the sense in it? The church must be there to support the vulnerable, the weak, the poor, the needy, the widows, the widowers. That must also be our prime focus, so that at the end of the day, the name of God will be glorified.
All right. So that the name of God will be glorified. Let's talk about for someone who wants to enter into ministry. I'm sure there are a lot of people who have confirmed, oh, I want to do ministry like you. I want to preach like you. I want to do the things of the kingdom like you. What are some of the things that that person should imbibe in order to also experience success in ministry or do ministry in an impactful way?
Number one, you need to fear God.
Okay.
Don't allow anything to stand between you and God. Not even your wife. That is if you're a man.
Okay.
If you're a woman, not even your
Even
husband.
your husband. Exactly.
God first.
Okay.
My greatest priority as a pastor is to make it to heaven and win souls to heaven. Period. We came alone, we'll go alone. But at the end of the day, the fear of God is the beginning of wisdom. Once you fear God, gives you wisdom.
Okay.
Wisdom is the technical know-how to do things. It shows you
I love that. Wisdom is the technical
Technical
know-how
know-how.
to do things.
Most people have ideas, but they don't have the technical
That's
know-how.
the knowledge.
Yes.
But how to
knowledge
implement
is the acquisition of information.
Okay.
You have the knowledge. It's a pool. You pick bits and chunk of it and put them together. That's what we call knowledge. I went to school. My doctoral degree is knowledge. The application of it is the wisdom.
Okay.
So wisdom is very paramount. But they are all intertwined. These three things, wisdom, knowledge, understanding, or discretion, you can't take it away. You can't make it in ministry without this.
Okay.
Or God, through his power, will bring them. It takes wisdom, knowledge, understanding to keep them.
Okay.
So you can have the numbers, but it takes wisdom to sustain them. Anybody can claim I'm successful in ministry when they have the numbers under their feet. But give them time. If it will still be the same. It takes wisdom. So we have to ask God. Wisdom is a spirit. Knowledge can be acquired by anyone through any means. But wisdom is a spirit, according to James 1 verse 5. If anyone amongst you lacks wisdom, you should ask of the Father, and he will give you.
He will give you. Prayer.
Yeah, prayer. You can't do ministry without prayer.
Okay.
Just yesterday, I called the team of workers here. I said, listen, we can't build a successful church or a thriving church without
ministry
prayer.
without prayer.
So we are going to have days to pray. Thrice a week, we are going to pray. If the need arises by the leading of the Spirit for us to fast, we'll fast and pray. And we have all agreed. Even today we are starting. We are hitting the grounds running. Okay. Even though we pray, this time we want to meet as a coordinated force and then pray together so that we get the needed results. Apart from prayer, somebody will say, oh, fasting is a thing of the past. Fasting is still realistic. You know why? It humbles you. It breaks your lustful desires, or your lustfulness is terminated.
It's brought under subjection.
That's right. So that, because there is always a battle between the flesh and the spirit. The flesh says, you are tired, sleep. The spirit says, get up and pray. So you pray. Steady to show, steady to show thyself approved. With all humility, I can walk into any place without the Bible and I can still preach. I download scriptures and messages in me.
In you.
Put me on the pulpit and I'll preach.
Okay.
I will quote scriptures verbatim and preach it.
Is it because you have imbibed the scriptures into you?
Certainly.
Okay.
Certainly, yes. I study a lot. I read wide. By God's grace, with all humility, you come on my status.
Okay.
This is not the copy and paste generation. I
Generation
don't do copy
and
and
all
paste.
that.
I write. So I have 3 books on Amazon. Breaking Soul Ties, The Book That Heals, and then my first book, a book I love so much, The Mysteries of Favor.
Okay.
It's on Amazon. And I have a magazine called Papalo Magazine. And The Mysteries of Favor, I took time to explain the meaning of favor. People always contradict the two, grace and favor.
Grace and favor.
Favor is the flavor that brings likability and acceptability before God and man. That is Luke chapter 2, verse 52. And Jesus grew in wisdom and in stature and found favor
With
before God
the
and man.
Okay.
So you need to fast and pray, steady to show thyself approved.
The study is very important.
Very important. And then you go to a larger extent and read books of men who have been successful in ministry or are successful. We have an arrogant generation, a prideful generation who thinks that I'm anointed. I have the numbers. My father, he doesn't even have the numbers. There are always fathers. I honor my father, Dr. Lawrence Tete. My goodness, he's a father. Father is a feather, or they are feathers upon which we stand to see feather. We have been quoting it all over. Everybody quotes this. But I say that they are the fulcrum upon which we are transitioned into a destination. Well, what my father will embed in me within an hour, his experience. I went to him one time, he was talking about marriage. My goodness. 1 hour, it was like a whole book written.
Just on marriage.
1 hour.
He was talking about marriage to you.
Experiences about marriage. He's the type who will share the good and bad.
The good and
and
bad.
tell you, follow this path. That's the father he is. I salute him. I give him 21 gun salute. If there is even more, I will give him more. So, we must study. And number 6 or 7, we must be humble.
Humility.
Humility brings exaltation. Lastly, we must serve. The men of God are interested in titles.
Okay.
Do you now hear servant of God? We have a servant of God. No. We have an archbishop here. He has traveled around the globe. If you don't bring those ones,
they won't.
They are not happy.
Yeah, it's true.
We have apostle doctor here. In fact, this is a man when he's... Please, let's honor God. In place of you, put God there.
Okay.
Finally, we shouldn't chase money.
Okay.
Money, women, if you're a man, the women too have their own, the men. Women will be disturbing we the men, and the men will be disturbing the women. Pastors, hypocrisy and sycophancy is killing the church.
Okay.
Your temptation as a man of God, women, money, pride.
Rewind and press play on that.
Women, pride,
and
money. It will bring you down. You will never make it if you don't control yourself when it comes to these things. Because the temptation is that, especially in your formative days, you have people trying to lure you. Oh, I have some food also. Come and eat.
Come home.
Before you realize, the Dan has done. You eat and eat. So all these things are part of it. And we are falling prey to some of these things. Some pastors will come and sit on TV, on radio, and act like angels. How can a pastor attend a marriage seminar and say, me and my wife, we have never quarreled before.
We've never quarreled
for 25 years. You are a big liar. If me and my wife, we've never had issues before. We have the perfect marriage. I attended a seminar like that. He said that, and I picked my Bible and I left. I said, you a liar. My friends were like, Lawrence, why are you going? I said, I'm going. You know why? Everything that follows after this story are lies. For you to tell me, human beings, somebody like me, raised by a woman who is a teacher, who will discipline you, a father who will not be beating you all the time, but when he's on the rampage, he hits you with his hand to die.
My father's own is a knock. Was a knock.
That's right. So we can relate with some of these things.
Exactly.
Going to live with a lady who was not brought up like that, and you tell me we won't fight.
We won't fight.
You won't quarrel. Please, give us a break. Pastors should stop lying. Let's tell the people the truth. My mother came here. She said a prayer after my doctoral graduation and consecration. She was here on this altar. You know the prayer she said? Some of them didn't take notice, but me, I took notice of it. And I was hearing her.
What did she say?
She prayed after prayer. She got to a point and said, when he, when he sins or when he commits any sin, the leaders should surround me and pray for forgiveness. I said, this is a mother. That is the reality. I'm human. Some pastors have acted like angels for many years.
Do you think, and that's why when a pastor falls, others they blow it because they act as
when a pastor
super
falls,
angels.
he becomes my road sign.
Say that again.
When a pastor falls, it should be your road sign. When you are driving on the road, what do you see? Road markers and road signs.
Yeah.
Slow down. How do you call it? A zebra crossing.
Zebra crossing, yeah.
There's a bridge here, sharp curve.
Children
Especially
passing.
when I'm driving on the central region. You see the curves? Somebody say, I won't follow, you die.
You die.
So when you driving on such road and you fall or you are involved in an accident, what do? If I'm following you, I have to tone down, steady the road, make sure that I'm comfortable on the road, drive safely, and get home safely. I find it funny when I see the inscription, don't drink and drive. Don't drive and drink. Are they not the same?
They're the same.
Don't drive and drink. Don't drive. Don't drink and drive.
Okay.
And don't drive and drink. They are the same. The same message communicated differently. Maybe semantics.
Yeah.
So when your leaders, that's why we need to respect our mentors. People have problem with us saying spiritual fathers or fathers in the Lord. God says, don't call anybody
your father.
There are things, let me say it emphatically here, without any equivocation, that God will not come down to teach you certain things until you are imparted. There are things God would never teach you. I'm praying that somebody should argue about this. Even the work you do, there are secrets.
Exactly.
And God will not show everything. If God wants to show everything to us, then everybody should be seen spiritually.
Yeah, sure.
It is those who He has called and those who are always trying to know about Him, going into His closet, because God will never show His nakedness to you. Can you show your nakedness to me just like that?
No, not at all.
But those who are close to you, your wife, your best friend, might see your nakedness and you are cool.
Yeah.
When an outsider sees it, how do you feel?
You feel embarrassed.
You feel bad, and you think it shouldn't have even happened.
You even question or fight the person.
So God will not reveal His nakedness to you. Deuteronomy 29:29. Secret things belongeth unto God. That which He revealeth belongeth unto you. I'm a King James person. So. That which He revealeth unto you belongeth unto you and your children or generation. So who reveals secret? God. And the secret of our fathers must be passed on unto us. The baton must be given to us. But if you have a vagabond generation, a disrespectful generation who denigrates fathers on social media, on certain platforms, oh, get away. This teaching is wrong. Our eyes are open. Even when they were preaching rubbish at the time, and today you have seen the light, you should have a way to talk to a father. I've seen people, when we were young, they were preaching rubbish and we were jumping like kangaroos, thinking they were preaching gospel. It was all nonsense. Fathers, where they have been, you have never been there. You know one interesting thing about life? Where your father had been, maybe you might not get there. The experience he has, the things he has suffered, the demons he has conquered, you might not conquer one. So let's give honor to whom honor is due.
Thank you so much. Let's do a quick one before we wrap up. So this is just favorite location where you are not home or in church.
I like being at the beach.
At the beach.
I am the type who can be indoor the whole day. I love music, but I love going out.
You love music. You listen to world music.
I listen to reggae. I listen to love music. I love R&B's.
As a pastor.
What does
Because someone was watching you and say, hey,
no.
As a pastor, how can you
We are
love
talking-
R&B and reggae?
We are talking about the West.
The West.
Don't people make love?
People make love.
Huh? Illegally and legally. So what is wrong with me listening? I love Kojo Ichi's music. I love Dante Lumbe's music.
Wow.
I love Kwabena, who my wedding day he has to be there to sing.
Yeah,
He has to be there. I just love his voice.
So as a pastor, your wedding day took me dinosaur.
Oh, those ones will be there. You know one interesting thing? I am a prophet who is a worshiper as well. I can't preach without worship. So when it comes to musicians, but on a lighter note, when I have to do my first dance, it will be Kwamna.
Which song of Kwamna?
Aso.
Hey! I saw this one the experience.
I'm telling you. So for once, I listen to reggae. Look at the words.
Reggae.
You look at the words.
Who's your favorite reggae artist?
Bob Marley.
Bob Marley.
I like it to be. And culture. We're here. That is here. Music is the soul.
The soul.
It speaks to your soul.
Okay.
Sometimes when you are down spirited, go into my car, and I'm somebody who is a realist. When I'm playing music in my car and I give you a lift, I won't change the sound in it. If it's reggae, let's listen to reggae. But I'm also giving a caution. If you are not grown in the things of God and you think music will lead you to something, don't listen to certain music. At my level, I can listen to any music and it won't have anything on me. I will not be super hyper or whatever. No, I'm fine with it. The words speaks to my soul. We are located at Gulf City, last stop. A few meters, around about 200 meters from the intersection, that is the roundabout to the church premises. So this is the church premises. Okay. Worship here Tuesdays for Hour of Change. It's purely prophetic deliverance session. If you really want to experience my prophetic prowess, it's on Tuesday and Fridays. So Tuesday in the mornings, 8 a.m., 1 p.m. we are done. And then every Friday we have what we call fire for fire all night. Oh my goodness. Every Friday. Wow. It tells you the strength and capacity we have. Every Friday, people come from all walks of life. Those who watch online, lives are being transformed, miracles are happening. And Sunday we have what we call PowerPoint service. PowerPoint service. We start at 7. In fact, we start church very early. 7 and then 10 we are done. And my contact is 0243 446455. 0243 446455. They asked me, a prophet of your kind, apostle doctor, it's only one number. I said I have only one number. My father will say I only have one Ghana number and one UK number. That's all. So.
My name is Felix Dazi. Thank you so much for joining me on Impact Live right here on this channel. I'll see you same time on our next edition. Till then, have a wonderful time. Like my favorite lecturer said, your mind is the most powerful tool. Make sure you don't waste it. I'll see you later. Until then, bye-bye.
February, March, April, May, June down to December. God, you've been so good. You've been so good. You've been so good. Count my blessings.